So I might have made an impulse buy. Kind of a big one, in fact. And I blame Ninja on it. This is all his fault. Yeah, nothing to do with me. All Ninja's fault. Hello and welcome to Your Average Bear Gaming. I am George. Today we'll talk about my latest impulse buy. This guy. Why the heck did I do this? I didn't need it. I sort of kind of wanted it. So why don't you come with me on this journey of self-justification, bargaining, denial, whatever it is. I need some psychological something to help me process what I've done. So here's the deal. I didn't wake up today thinking, I'm gonna buy some paints. I'm gonna buy a big box of paints. No, that wasn't in the cards at all. In fact, as I was leaving the office, I thought, you know, I'm struggling with this project. I'm just not happy with the way these paints are working. I mean, I'm blaming the paints, but I know it's me. And I've been watching a lot of YouTube, as one does, where people are talking about the new Fanatic Mega Paint Set. Well, not the Mega Paint Set, but the new line of Army Painter acrylics. And the results, they're not really mixed. They're just, they vary in positivity. Some people think, hey, yeah, these are pretty good. They're not amazing, but they're pretty good. And then some people are like, yeah, these are the best thing ever. And the last one that stuck in my brain was Ninja. He's replacing his a lot of his existing paint ranges with this thing. And I don't know if he got this one with the 50. Maybe he got the huge one with the, I don't know, the really, really big one with the full range. But whatever it is that he got, he's replacing existing paint sets, including paints that I was thinking about transitioning over to. Stuff like this, Vallejo color, Vallejo model color. He's replacing his, I mean, he's keeping the new formulation, but he's basically boxing up his old Vallejo paints and transitioning over to the new Army Painter. So while I explain my decision, the process, the way I got to where I am today, I'm going to start a project that I've been kind of put in the back burner until I finish another project that I'm just kind of not into, and it's been languishing on my desk. It's these guys. So it's the Heirotek circle? I don't know. It's Necrons. It's a Necrons Killteam. I don't have any Necrons. I don't need any Necrons, but these are interesting looking. They're new-ish, and they're Necrons, which means that there might be easier. I kind of need a win right now. So I'm thinking a win here can kind of help me get back on the hobby horse, if you will. So I'm going to get these guys built, and then I'm going to start painting them with this brand new set. Let's commit to some of these bad decisions, shall we? New plastic smell. So, why in the world did I spend $200, yes, $200 at my friendly local game store on paints that I wasn't exactly sure I wanted? About 4 years ago, I started or restarted my hobby, this Warhammer 40K painting, modeling kind of thing. And I started off with a range of Army Painter. So I got a bunch of these. It was one of their big box sets because I wanted a good start. I didn't want to have to mess around with, you know, buying this and buying that, and I didn't want the Game Workshop spots. I wanted something with a dropper bottle, and Army Painter was accessible. Army Painter was reasonably priced. So I went with it, and I painted with Army Painter for almost the entirety of my time back painting Warhammer 40K, and the results were fine. They weren't great, but I really couldn't blame the paints. I'm just not that good at Painter. You know, I don't have the refined color theory. I don't have the brush control. I don't have a really good way of kind of mixing the paints in a reliable way. They separate out and they start getting gross, and my wet palette starts loading up the paints with water pretty quickly. And so I end up with a kind of an uneven, inconsistent, sometimes a gloopy mess that I just can't figure out. And I know it's not the paints. I know it's my lack of skill. But as I'm struggling sometimes, I'm thinking, you know, what if I had something better? What if it is Army Painter? Well, it's not, because I've also tried Citadel. I've also tried Vallejo. I've tried a couple of other kind of new paint brands that came out and then they went away. The moral here is that I've tried a few different kinds of paint brands, and my painting doesn't get better. So I know it's not the paints. I know it's the painter. But in the middle of that struggle, man, as I'm, you know, what if this next purchase is the thing that unlocks the door and makes me, if not a better painter, at least a less bad painter? What if, right? What's a couple of bucks here and there? Maybe you'll discover something wonderful. And hope is a hell of a drug, man. So my plan, as I went to my friendly local game store, stickers, was to painting guide. Yay! I think I probably won't read it. Oh yeah, painting rack. And a bunch of paints. So, here was my thought. I'm going to go to my friendly local game store to pick up a couple of paints that I need, right? So, I've heard some good things about the new Army Painter, but I don't want to commit to, you know, spending $200, $700 for that full set. I want to try them. I want to see if they're any good. I want to see if they're better than what I currently have. So I'm gonna buy a couple of paints like these, maybe a brown, and that'll help me decide it. Oh yeah, they have the little steel balls in here. It'll help me decide if I like the way they feel. Then maybe I'll consider buying the big sets and replacing all of my current Army Painter, kind of the original formula. Even if it's not the paints that I've had them for like 4 years, maybe it's time to let them. I don't know if paints have a best use by date, but yeah, I haven't been really happy with these paints, and I'm kind of hoping for something better. And so I thought, yeah, I'll try these out. If I like them, I'll consider Army Painter to replace my current, you know, range of paints. So I get to my friendly local game store, Clockwork Games, here in College Station, Texas. Yeehaw! And they've increased their Warhammer 40K game recently. They have a much nicer selection. They have, they've added Army Painter speed paints and these new acrylics. So I thought, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to check it out. So I go there, I'm looking for the single bottles of paint, and they don't have the single bottles of paint. They have a couple of sets of the Speed Painter range, which, okay, I also bought, but this was like a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't opened it yet because I'm not a really big on to speed paints, but maybe I'll change my mind someday. And so I'm in there. They don't have what I'm looking for. And I hate walking into a friendly local game store and walking out with nothing in my hands. I don't know what it is. I just want them to do well. I want them to continue to support the hobby. So I always walk away with something that I didn't really need, but I kind of wanted, and it makes me feel good about helping other people game at that store, because that's not a thing I do, but I want others to share in this hobby. So I was disappointed because they didn't have the singles that I wanted, and I already had the speed paints. So I was looking around, well, maybe what do I get? What do I get? And lo and behold, I find this stupid thing. Now it's time to make a decision. Now I can go online, find an online store that sells a couple of these, test them out, and see what I think. And then at that point, a couple of weeks from now, make that decision, or I can plunk down that credit card, spend $200, and impulse buy a new paint range on the hopes that it'll be good. So I'm confident. I'm confident that this will be a decent paint set. I am also confident that this will be a better paint set than what I currently have, right? My old Army Painter paints, they've seen better days. They weren't really that great to begin with. So the good news is that I'll be able to at least improve on what I currently have. Is it going to be better than the Citadel paints? Is it going to be better than the Vallejo paints that I've got? I don't know. The people that I've seen online kind of say at the very least they're comparable in quality, they're comparable in coverage. These might be a little bit more consistent. Yeah, I maybe we'll have a new paint set. I don't know. If I like them. The good news is that I don't really lose anything because at the minimum, the consensus says these will be better than the original formula Army Painter paints. So I didn't lose anything there. Whether or not they'll be better than the Vallejo, I don't know. I find it kind of hard to conceptualize, but people on the internet are saying they are at least comparable, and nobody lies on the internet. And the thing is, I've been wanting to pull the trigger on Vallejo paints for a while. I've been looking for like a year and a half. And I've found a few places that sell like this new formulation, which seems pretty nice. I've used it a little bit. But they're inconsistent. They're really hard to find in person. They're really hard to find online. You can buy them, you know, sometimes in some game stores, you can buy like single bottles of this, but they don't have a set. They don't have a kit. And I like buying a kit. You get a discount typically when you buy the kit. You get a decent, a curated range of colors, of hues, and you get them at a discount because you're buying, you know, 20 paints versus one at a time, and so they will reduce the price and end up making more money in the collective. I believe the business term is economies of scale, right? You're selling in bulk. Each individual item is less expensive than if you buy them in retail. I mean, I'm not buying wholesale paints. I'm just buying more paints in one go than I would normally. So because Vallejo doesn't have a set, because Vallejo is really hard to find, here we are. Now that I've justified myself to you, my wonderful viewers, it's time to do some painting. I'm back. It's been about a month since I started this thing, but I'm finally done. I have, yeah, it took me a month, but I've got them. They're my brand new Necron Killteam. They're built, they're painted, and they're okay. But you know what? I needed this win. It's been a while since I completed a painting project, and I've done a lot worse. And as I show you some pictures of my brand new models that are, again, okay, I want to give you some impressions of the brand new paints, the Army Painter 2.0. Well, they're brand new to me. This is the first time I've used them, and the verdict is actually pretty good. I say that like I'm surprised, and I'm not really. Army Painter is a pretty good company. Yeah, I had a little bit of beef with them with the previous range of speed paints, but they fixed it. I haven't tested the new stuff, but everyone seems to say the reactivation stuff is taken care of, so, you know, awesome. So I'm not surprised. Army Painter is a good company. I was pretty confident that their paints were going to do a pretty good job. And this is a first impression video. Like, this isn't a test. I didn't compare them against the old version. I didn't compare them against Vallejo or Citadel. I didn't do any of that. This wasn't a systematic test because, quite frankly, I don't have the expertise. I don't have the experience with painting that I would need to have a credible systematic test. So I'm just kind of going to share with you some of the thoughts, and yeah, they're pretty good. Ninjon and the Mini Witch, I think, is her nickname. Tyla Mev, I forget her name, but I've seen a few creators talk really positively about the Army Painter paints, and yeah, I've enjoyed them so far. So I even put them on the rack that comes in this particular box, along with this one brush here that I may or may not ever use, because I have a ton of brushes that I almost never use. In fact, I use relatively few of these paints. As you look at these models, you'll see a couple of colors in here, and not all of them were included in the Army Painter, the new Army Painter, at least the box that I have got. But you'll see teal, you'll see bronze pretty prominently. There's some green business going on with the Necron Power packs. I don't remember if the orange for the sensors are from the new range. That might be. But this is it. These 6 paints is what I used to paint my Necrons out of these, what is it, 60, 70 that I bought. I'll get around to them. But the paints that I used, they're pretty good. They're certainly better than the original Army Painter, which were pretty good. You know, they were value paints. They weren't like performance paints. Is that a thing? They weren't Vallejo. They weren't like one of those top tier paint ranges. But these, with my limited experience, I think they're comparable with some of the best paints that I've used. Specifically the metallic paints, like this bronze. Now, I didn't use them as paints. I use them as for dry brushing. So maybe when I use them as actual paints, I'll see some of the shortcomings. But for now, they feel a bit more substantial. They feel less transparent than the other metallics that I've used from Army Painter, which are my primary metallics that I use right now. I don't do non-metallic metals because that requires some serious skill, and I just don't have it. But these, I'm looking forward to using them again. Yeah. Heck, I might even go over some of my old stuff with this stuff, just to kind of improve on my kind of unsatisfactory metallic colors that I've done in the past. The actual hues that I used, again, sparingly, were this Pharaoh Guard. It's like a teal, and there's this guy for the Necron energy balls, and there's this guy for the sensors. It's pretty good. Like the coverage was pretty good. The consistency was pretty good. I didn't see a lot of that separation that I seem to get with my usual shenanigans. I don't know what I do to make my paints misbehave, but most of my paints kind of hate me, and these did okay. This model here is probably the most prominent use of color that I have in this kind of batch, and you know, I didn't do a ton of coverage. I also didn't do any wet blending and kind of more advanced techniques like that. I just wanted to get a win, and I wanted to make sure that they worked, and I'm pretty happy with them. Happy enough that I've considered getting more. I'm probably going to replace the entirety of my Army Painter kind of 1.0 range with these. It's kind of a no-brainer. They're old friends, and I hate to see them go, but I think these are just flat out better. So there's that. I look forward to doing some other projects with these paints, exploring more of the paint range, and maybe getting some more of these paints. So folks, if you're on the fence about Army Painter 2.0, whether because you've never used them before or because you've had maybe a not so good experience in the past, maybe give these a shot. You don't need the entire huge box, maybe get a few and test them out. But whether you want to dip your toes or jump right in, Army Painter 2.0 looks to be like a decent buy. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Your Average Bear Gaming. Have a wonderful night. Be nice to yourselves and each other. Peace.